Know the difference with Annex Wealth Management, joined by Amy Bremer, Wealth Manager and a CFP at Annex Wealth Management. Welcome.
Thanks, Danny.
A YouTuber asked a group of Americans aged 70 to 80, so 70 to 80-year-olds, what their biggest regret in retirement were. And folks, we're going to ask you, how many might apply to you? Because I think this is wisdom, right?
Touche.
Yeah. Regret number one, to a person, they wish they'd retired earlier. How many times have you heard that?
I hear that all the time, especially as they're in retirement. It's great. I mean, I got nothing bad to say about it. Granted, I'm still working, but the folks that I work with love retirement. They're spending more time on hobbies. They're spending more time with their children and grandchildren. They're traveling. They're crossing off all those things from their bucket list that they haven't been able to do because they worked a 9 to 5. I mean, they're living their best lives.
In our defense, there's such pressure on, putting away, investing, keeping it going, that I don't think we think of what it's going to be like in retirement fully. And how would we?
That's a great question too, Danny. When I work with the families here at Annex, I really push that because 40 hours, 45 hours a week is a lot of time to fill in, especially if one spouse retired first, the second spouse was still working, and now all of a sudden the second spouse is back home and it's disrupting the flow of the first spouse and you're having all these consternation going on at the house.
Second regret they have, and these are 70 to 80-year-olds looking back, they wish they'd spent more when they first retired.
Yes. When you first retire, you're young, you're healthy, you're moving, you're shaking. You can fly to Europe and go to Brussels and walk on cobblestone streets. You're not going to be able to do that when you're 87. So go and do those things now that you want to do while you're still young and healthy, and you can do the things that you want to do.
Here's one you can definitely do, and it's their third regret. They wish they took better care of their health.
This is huge. You can't go to Brussels and walk on cobblestone streets if you have a walker or if you're in a wheelchair. Europe is not ADA compliant just because it's really old. So a lot of retirees wish that they would have done the work earlier, like middle age, losing the weight, getting their cholesterol under control, things like that, to avoid the chronic diseases that happen most often in older age.
Yeah. Well, you know that old saying, 20/20 hindsight is perfect vision.
Very, very much so.
Amy Bremer is a wealth manager and a CFP at Annex Wealth Management. For what it's worth, a YouTuber got together with Americans between 70 and 80 and asked them what their biggest retirement regrets were. Fourth regret, they wish they'd taken up a hobby, which I find odd because you'd think by the time you retire, you would have had things that you like to do on the side.
If you go hunting, you can only go hunting in hunting season. What are you going to do in May?
Build ships and bottles, or things like that, right? There's got to be something.
Yeah, I encourage people, if you've always wanted to try something and you never had the time or the money to do it, like take a photography class or go back to college and learn Italian or something. Do it. What else are you going to do in retirement? Sit around and watch Jeopardy? That's fun for 3 days, but then it gets old fast.
Jeopardy is pretty awesome.
Jeopardy is very awesome.
All right. And our fifth regret, the final one, is they wish they'd traveled more. There you are, back to Brussels.
Brussels, yeah. And I don't know why I picked Brussels. I much prefer France. But a lot of the families that I work with that are in retirement are traveling a lot. And they love it. They're going to Europe and they're taking cruises and they're going south down to the Caribbean. They're having a great time. It's all the things that they wanted to do again while they were working, but they couldn't because they were working 9 to 5 and you get 2-3 weeks of PTO. What can you do with that? The challenge is not everyone wants to travel. So try it out. And if it's not your cup of tea, don't do it. I have a family that I work with. The man traveled for work and he said, I can't wait to be home and sit in a corner and read a book. That's his retirement. Because he traveled for work. He was burnt out on it.
Listen, in our defense, because you and I are both working right now, and
yes.
we're aiming at retirement. We want to do retirement properly, but there is kind of that pressure, right, to put things away and do things right. And it's easier said than done, I think. So, folks, if you're not retired yet and you're hearing this list,
there's always regrets, but the earlier you start, the less of your own money you have to save. So I tell a lot of the families that I work with, your kids that are graduating college, they need to start now. And $1 today invested for another 40, 50 years is going to be a lot more powerful than $1 invested when they're 45.
You Gen X, millennial, what are you?
Millennial. I'm an elder millennial, Danny.
Elder millennial.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Well, let the wise Amy Bremer, the elder millennial, help you along with anybody else here at Annex Wealth Management. We want to help you plan to minimize those regrets in retirement. It is time to talk to us about putting together a personalized plan, covers your investment and retirement planning, tax planning, the estate planning, the whole ball of wax. It's a fee-only fiduciary. Know the difference. Our website, annexwealth.com. Click that Get Started button. Amy Bremer, Wealth Manager, CFP at Annex Wealth Management. Thank you.
My pleasure, Danny.